What's up, storytellers? I'm C.R. Rowanson, the Magic Engineer, and it's time to talk about magic. In this video, I'm going to give you 5 different magic systems that you can use in your NaNoWriMo novel. If you aren't aware of what that is National Novel Writing Month. Happens every November, all of November, and it snuck up on me this year. Really shouldn't have. I've known November is coming, and I've been planning for all kinds of things to happen in November, so cognitively I had it down. I just never connected the dots. But anyway, 5 magic systems for you that you can use, free license for you to take, mold. I hope that you can use these for inspiration, maybe to get you out of a rut, because at this point, we are going to be about a third of the way through the 2021 NaNoWriMo. So, here they are, and good luck. Oh, I forgot to mention, it really doesn't matter what you're writing for NaNoWriMo. I've got something for you. Don't care if you're doing fantasy, sci-fi, horror, romance, bromance, I guess. Whatever you want to do, I've got you covered. This first magic system centers around the idea of parasitic monsters that humanity, or whatever race you have in your story, uses to manage and treat the symptoms of mental illness. I really like this idea, one, because I like pretty much all magic systems ideas, but there's a lot of cool things you can do here. For one, these creatures could be more autonomous, like they could be kind of emotional support parasites, something that you have along with you that is actually leeching some of these energies from you to help you stabilize any of the anxiety or symptoms of bipolar disorder or anything like that. They could also be more integrated, I suppose, would be the nice way to say it, where they're actually incorporated into your system, whether they're like brain slugs or it's a tapeworm of some kind, or God forbid something that's like actually wrapped around your medulla oblongata. In my mind, this kind of magic system would be perfect for any sort of secondary world or portal fantasy that you might want to explore, because this gives you a lot of room to tie it into all of your characters, whether they're traditional magic users or not. They have different ways that they can interact with these creatures. You can also just litter them throughout the wilderness and throughout the wilds, have them show up at different points in the story. They could even be pivotal companions or essential to different plot twists. Lots and lots of different things you can do here. So if you're feeling stuck and you're not really sure what to do, maybe try and spice it up by doing a little bit of quick world building. Imagine how these worlds would change the way people interact with each other, how it would change the structure of society, how different organizations would adapt to finding, using, licensing these different creatures. Because God forbid, what if there were more volatile and dangerous creatures that were used for specific illnesses, specific mental illnesses? I'm just thinking of the off-brand or the black market brain slug that does its job, but also does other things. And now for Magic System 2. In this magic system, the magic users can actually devour and consume the dreams and nightmares of other people. I'm not talking about dreamwalking. We are talking straight up consumption. The dreams are destroyed in the process of using them to fuel this person's magic. The reason I was coming up with this idea is I wanted something that could fit into contemporary world, or even if you wanted to do some magical realism, because this would be great if there was just one person who had this ability and they were trying to come to terms with it, didn't know how to use it initially, were finding out how they could use it to their advantage, all that different kind of stuff. It's something that you could filter into the real world without it being too off-putting and too unsettling for the rest of your world building. This magic system would also give you, the author, a lot of leeway to do pretty much whatever you needed, because the dreams may be incredibly inconsistent in the effects they produce, as well as the magnitude and the quality, not to mention if you accidentally consume some nightmares or different, shall we say, passionate fantasies. Who knows what would happen there? What fascinates me most about this system is how you could use it to explore some strange themes. You could really dive into thematic exploration of the human psyche, looking into the id and the ego, examining drug abuse and recovery, and even just healing from trauma. There's so many different cool things here. And I say that about every magic system, but it's true. And I hope you find this one interesting too. Now, for number 3. This system is for those of you that want a little more romance or human connection in your stories. Whether it's a romance novel, or it's just a subplot, or whatever, this one's for you. In this magic system, wedding bands, or whatever wedding ritual you want to put in, actually binds the individual powers of the two people, combining them into something new and even more powerful. Now, the original people from the couple may have abilities on their own, or you could make it so that they only have abilities once they are combined. But this is where I'm channeling a little bit of He Who Fights with Monsters by Shirtalune, because I just love the confluence essences in those books. So that's the idea here. Person A has this power, person B has this power, and together they have the power to destroy the world! Or, whatever you want to do. Choice is yours. And if you wanted to dig into some of the world building with this magic system, this could bring an interesting light to arranged marriages, where, think what you will of them, they have been around in human history for a very long time as a matter of creating alliances, settling disputes, and consolidating power. And this would just be another way of doing that. You may have families that intentionally get certain people married because they want a very specific marriage essence. Now, for magic system number 4, where technology can store and release bursts of time. Cool, right? This may seem simple at first, and you can certainly keep it that way if that's your flavor, but there's a bunch of different ways we can spin this. Personally, the way my brain is going is that you actually have to store time in order to expend it later. And I'm even thinking in terms of its just time, just the acceleration of time. It doesn't actually affect any other mass or science equations. So for example, if a car was speeding along at 60 miles an hour and you cut the time to half, well, it covers half the distance in 1 hour. So it would only cover 30 miles in an hour, but it still has the kinetic energy of a vehicle traveling 60 miles an hour. So if you wanted to take that and throw that into a science fiction story, you really could. I mean, think about them putting a temporal lock, well, maybe not a full lock, but stealing all of the temporal energy of just an entire orbiting body and then re-releasing that to give their ships the equivalent of faster than light travel. They're not actually faster than light because their speed technically hasn't changed, but people can make the trip in a fraction of the time. I hope you're liking these magic systems so far, because sometimes I feel like I'm just sitting here coming up with ideas and being like, yes, my ideas are brilliant and so cool. They just get me excited, and I wish I could write dozens of stories overnight so that I could do everything that I want with the magic systems. There's so much. Anyway, if you're liking this video, please like and subscribe, because I would love to hear what you do with these magic systems, what your struggles are, and just to know that you're out there and enjoying these videos. And now, Magic System 5. Okay, this one is for you horror folks. And if you know me, I love horror, which is why it should be no surprise that this might be my favorite of the 5 magic systems. In this magic system, there are blind predators stalking the wilderness that can only see through the eyes of marked prey. The core idea from this magic system, for me, actually came from the idea of deer in the headlights. Because if they can see through your eyes, then the most dangerous thing you can do is look right at them. But we all know, if you know something is stalking you and you see it, you're afraid to tear your eyes away. But if you don't, it just finds you faster. The marking here can be anything. It could be a pheromone signature, it could be a bite, it could be a magical tattoo, it could be a curse. It doesn't really matter. The idea was just that it is something that is tangible and observable, because then you could go into all different kinds of horror. If you like the stories where people turn against each other and show that they are the true monsters, those aren't my favorite, but if you like them, you could do that here. It's very similar to a zombie thing, right? Where all of a sudden one of the people has been bitten, And these survivors or these travelers need to decide what to do before the creatures arrive. Because if the creatures arrive, they're just gonna kill everybody. So do they kill their friend and leave them for dead? Do they try and protect them? What do you do? And even just if this could happen partway through the story, where a hero is just trying to make it from city A to city B, they get marked in the process, and now what was going to be not necessarily a pleasant journey, but an average journey is now a horror show of them being hunted across the lands. Yes. And if you really want to, why not go full Squid Game and turn this into a controlled, broadcast, deadly game of hide and seek? Why not? There you go. 5 magic systems you can use in your NaNoWriMo novel. Or any novel, actually. I mean, if you find this outside of November, I'm not going to know. If you have time, I would actually love to hear your pitch for your story and how you're going to put the magic system into it. But I'm going to challenge you. If you've got time, I want you to try and keep it to 2 sentences or less. Thanks for joining me in this video while I just talked about a bunch of random magic ideas and generally nerded out and squeed about all the different terrible things that I could do. I really appreciate having you here. So please like and subscribe. That way you know about any other new videos that come out. And until next time, stay awesome and keep writing.